No, there is, baby. I wasn't sure when we were going to go live because that mother effer stood there forever. Me and Earnshaw were making odd, awkward eye contact for about 10 seconds there. I don't know what was going to happen. But episode 67's back. No matter what, you cannot stop the shift. You see the computer shaking. I'm sorry, that's a little too much. But you know what? Sometimes you got to be a little too much when you come back. The shift is back. I know. Rip me. I'm wearing an Eagles Kelly Green right now. I know they lost. They lost badly. But we're here to talk about baseball. I'm not here to talk about football. I'm not here to look. I was listening to the radio a little bit, sports talk radio here recently. I don't need to hear that anymore. We're here to talk baseball, Nick Earnshaw. How you doing, bud?
What's going on, Francisco? Nice to see you, buddy. In your Eagles
Boy.
jersey, it's a shame. It's a shame.
I know. Well, look, at least look. You know what? This should be a. I know we're coming up on the anniversary of the Randy Johnson incident.
Yeah.
But this is me making up for it. You know, my team loses, I still wear the jersey. You know?
Yeah. So you'll never live it down.
Were you even wearing a jersey today?
No, I actually didn't wear it today. I had a work shirt on today. I had a work shirt, another work shirt on today. I got my new one.
You were actually working.
Yes, I was working today.
You were at ESPN today, right?
Yes, I was at ESPN.
All right. Well, no, yeah. What are you talking about? I was working in Westchester and I still had the Eagles jersey on. Nah.
Well, I had the ESPN shirt on today.
Do you have to wear that?
No, but it was like a whole thing that everyone was wearing. The whole crew was wearing.
ESPN. Okay, I guess I can respect that. I can.
Everyone
I want to rip you, but I don't.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't. No,
there's nothing. Nothing will top the Diamondbacks. Nothing. The Diamondbacks jersey that you wore. No one's stopping. I'm sorry. It's not happening.
It's called a reverse curse, man. I know this isn't a Phillies show, but this is what happens, right? I wear the jersey. They don't win the World Series, the Diamondbacks, and now they might miss the playoffs. So I might have done the Phils a favor because I'm still scared of the Diamondbacks. And it's crazy that they might not even make the playoffs. So, yeah, let's get right to it. Well, first off, how are you? I know I didn't just ask you, but it's been a while. So, like are you doing okay? Everything good?
Yes, everything's good. It's been a busy time for sure.
You've been a busy man.
Yeah, it's been a busy time, but we were back on the shift. I'm excited about it. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. We have so much to talk about, so much to catch up on, so much to talk about.
We totally do, and there's a lot to go through today. We were gonna do. I proposed to you like an hour or two ago. I said, "Yo, should we do regular season, awards?" But I think there's just, and we agreed on this. There's so much crazy good stuff and bad, unfortunately, on the West Coast. We'll talk about that in a minute. But a lot of really fun things to talk about. I mean, this National League wild card scenarios, it's insane. Everyone's talking about. We get the American League wild card matchups. I'm excited for them. 2 AL Central teams both make it. I did not expect them to make the playoffs, especially Detroit just coming out of nowhere the last couple of months to where they've just gotten all of a sudden hot. Tarek Skubal winning the Triple Crown, and going to win that Cy Young, obviously. And then we have to get to, I mean, you can't not, there's never enough talk about what Shohei Ohtani has done this year and Aaron Judge. So we have to talk about what they've done this year. And then pretty impressive thing, somebody over there in San Diego, another batting title. Another team. Another one. So we'll
call it on them.
Yes. We'll get to that a little later in the show. But Nick, we have to start with the National League wild card implications because this is the most insane, scenarios that I think we've had in a while. And really since I don't know, I'm trying to think about the last couple of years, but I mean, I go back to 2007 where I think, and I know it was a little different because you only had the one wild card spot, but I think the Padres and the Rockies might have played in game 162 where they had that tiebreaker and had to get in the playoffs somehow. I think that's what it was, but I don't remember. Either way, it just feels like that type of mojo, that type of anticipation for something like this. We haven't had that in a while, at least for me. Not that I can remember. So I don't know, Nick, are you excited? Are you excited for this, man? If the Braves, this is what the scenario is, right? if the Braves and Mets both split their doubleheader tomorrow, both teams clinch a playoff spot. They both are in the wild card. Yep. But if either lose both, I guess I'm reading that right. If one of them, if the Mets lose both of those games or the Braves lose both of those games, that team is out. Diamondbacks are in. What a time it's going to be tomorrow. I feel bad for these fan bases, Nick, but what a time tomorrow. How excited are you?
This is great because, you could see like these three teams, not our favorites. I know one of them is your favorite team, but for me, all three teams, not my favorite.
I need a drop board, man. I need to like L you right there. What are we doing? Keep going.
I'm just saying. You've worn a jersey from one of these teams, okay? That happened last year. But anyway, back to the real thing. Braves, Mets, Diamondbacks. These are three. I love when baseball comes down to the last day. We've seen nights like this before where it gets absolutely crazy. You have a doubleheader tomorrow. I mean, that is madness if I've ever seen it. It's awesome. So I will just go through real quick each scenario for each team so we could just get it straight, right? The Braves clinch a playoff berth if they win either game of the doubleheader or both. They are the number 5 seed in all of these scenarios and would go to San Diego to face the Padres in the wild card round. The only way they don't make the playoffs is if they get swept. With the Mets, they clinch the playoff berth if they win either game of the doubleheader or both. They sweep the doubleheader. They are the number 5 seed and face San Diego. They split the doubleheader. They are the number 6 seed and face the Brewers in the wild card round. The only way they don't make the playoffs is if they get swept. Diamondbacks clinch a playoff berth if there is a sweep in the doubleheader, and it doesn't matter which team does it. In either sweep scenario, they are the number 6 seed and face Milwaukee in the wild card round. The Mets and Braves split the doubleheader. They are out. So that is according to MLB.com. Those are the scenarios for the three teams tomorrow. This is madness. It doesn't matter what happens in the first game because the second game matters that much more in the doubleheader. This is how crazy it is. And the fact it's the NL East, right? All the injuries Atlanta has had. Phillies won the division. We knew that, the NL East, Braves, Phillies, they'd be the top 2 teams. Both would get in probably by the end of the season. Atlanta's had a lot of injuries. I get it. But no one really saw the Mets in the beginning of the year being a team that was going to be in a wild card race, right? You're kind of just writing them off like they were horrible last year. They very much underachieved. This year, they've been much better than they were last season. And now we're here for this madness of a doubleheader because of the hurricane, etc. This is crazy. So if you're a baseball fan, you got to be stoked. You have to be absolutely stoked because you want to recreate, what was it, early 2010s when you had that madness in Tampa Bay and everything was going
2011.
Crazy. Yeah, 2011. And everything, everything switched on the last night of the season. And that's what prompted adding these additional wild card teams, right? Having the wild card round, etc. Because of that type of night, you're getting something similar here to that extent. That is the best because you're going through such a long gauntlet of a season, and now you get to this point. As a fan, you got to be stoked. But if you're a fan of these teams, you are sweating bullets. But it's great baseball, and this is what's going to be so much fun heading into the postseason.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. I am so stoked. And honestly, this isn't even well, obviously it is because of the wild card, how this is shaping up. But at the same time, I mean, this is because of the hurricane, right? This is why there's the double header. So this is just kind of baseball playing out being baseball. Unfortunately, because of Mother Nature, this is how it is. But at the same time, we'll take it. I'm stoked. Like you said, I'm thinking about 2007. I'm thinking about 2011. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about this type of stuff, which makes this time of year for baseball so special. And now that they've added that third wild card spot, man, that's where I want to go to next. Right from obviously we're both excited about how it is tomorrow. So before we get to that, can Arizona get the 5 seed? Because I want to see them in San Diego. I think that would be a great matchup.
Arizona, they're going to get they can only get the 6.
They can only get the 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So
never mind then.
If they split, if the Mets and Braves split tomorrow, I mean, they're out. They're just out. They need.
I would like to see like a Mets Padres series. I think I'm for that. Now.
Okay.
The Braves are just like I don't know. Maybe it's because like they've just lost so much like firepower this year as far as those big names have gone. But like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like as much as like me and you are Phillies fans, like the Mets are kind of a fun story as like for objectively as a baseball fan. And I think they would be a fun story them going up against San Diego. So I'm personally hoping that it's Mets, Padres, and the Diamondbacks and Brewers, and get the Brewers out of here. I'm sorry. Like I actually like the Brewers. I think they're an underrated team to a certain extent, but I need chaos. So actually, that wouldn't. What am I talking about? Because the D-backs would be playing against the Phils probably, and I'm terrified of the Diamondbacks. So I don't know, Nick. Maybe I don't really know. Maybe I should just keep my mouth shut. You know what I mean?
Go turn the microphone off.
Yeah.
Take it back. Shut your laptop down. No, I'm serious. I'm with you though. Like the Arizona Diamondbacks scare me. They scare me.
Everybody. I think they should scare everybody.
Goodness.
I think the Padres and the Diamondbacks should scare everybody. Yeah, and I think people should hope that it can be the Mets and the Braves. If you're a Dodgers fan, if you're a Phillies fan, if you're a Brewers fan, I think you don't want. Padres are a good team, man. Padres are a really good team. I hope that we see a Padres Dodgers NLDS, and then we'll see. But so let's stick with the wild card stuff there, Nick. So it's been 3 years now. 3 years that we've had the third wild card spot. I'll tell you, man. I think it's. I know the trade deadlines have been kind of wonky here and there. They haven't I think last year's wasn't like all that great, but honestly, Nick, like I'll take great like competition at the end of the year and fun postseasons and adding another team and making it more exciting over these deadlines. Like I know we like exciting, fun trade deadlines, but I mean, the Soto trade happened 2 years ago. That was the first time. That was the first time they had the wild card in 2022. They had the third wild card. You got the runs from the Phillies in 22. You got the run from the D-backs last year. I think it's good. I think it's good for the game. I like what the third wild card spot has been for baseball, and I don't think it's too much. I think that what's that? 12 teams? Overall, 12 out of 30. I mean, look, they do 16 in basketball and hockey. And I think football is 14 now, if you're not mistaken. So, I mean, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it staying this way, at least for the near future. I'm not going to say forever because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, they said batting average and wins would rule the world forever, and they're just not. We've realized that, which I want to actually get. You never answered me. I'm pretty sure. I thought I texted you and asked you that one night that Estevez blew a save for the Phillies, but still got the win, and how that made sense that he got the win. And I wanted you to back that up. But see, I'm going off track here, Nick. I like the third wild card spot. I think it's. I don't think anything's perfect. I think we would like great trade deadlines every year, but trade deadlines aren't great every year. We don't get amazing trade deadlines every year anyway. So, Nick, what are your thoughts 3 years in with this wild card spot?
For me, I love it. I mean, I love it. And, I understand Arizona's a small market team. Major League Baseball probably love that. Like last year's viewership in the World Series was down. It was down last year if you look at it. So, your Major League Baseball, it's still great because now you have more games on TV. You have the wild card round on TV. Like, it's exciting. And it's proven, right? Because you've seen the Phillies get to a World Series. You've seen the Diamondbacks get to a World Series. That these teams belong in the postseason, right? Like, at first, when you're expanding, the first thought is, are you cheapening the postseason? Are you just adding an extra team that's going to get bounced? Like in basketball, do you really need the 9 and 10 seed into that like little tournament they do before the playoffs start? No. That one's a little ridiculous because now you're just adding teams to add them. Baseball needed to add 2 more teams to the postseason. Like these teams belong in the playoffs, and this is just where we're going as as a sports society now. You needed to add these teams, and it's a long season, Francisco. It's a long 162 games is mind-boggling. So the fact you're not gonna have a ton of teams in the postseason, I mean, that's kind of crazy, right? So I think, yes, I think it's been a success because 2 teams in 2 straight years have gotten to the World Series being that 3rd wild card team. So, yes, it was necessary. I think it's great having the wild card round. The best of 3 is awesome instead of just 1 game. It's amazing. And then, you've seen the talented teams get to a World Series. And yeah, so I think it's been a success for the most part. I don't know if they need to expand it anymore, but right now I like where the postseason is at this point. Yeah, I know you're going to talk about the trade deadline. I get it. It hasn't been as exciting, but you want more postseason baseball.
Yeah,
Postseason
I agree.
baseball. You want more games there. You want more teams involved, especially since there's only 12 out of the 30 in Major League Baseball being in it. So I love that the extra wild card has been there. I think it's been a success because of how successful those teams have been getting into the postseason. So yeah, I'm all for it.
All right, Nick, what'd you have for dinner, bud? Time for the meat and potatoes. I need to
So
know. Yeah, what'd you have tonight? I know what you had though. You had Domino's, didn't you?
I did not. I did not.
What'd you have?
I did
Did you eat
not.
out?
So I had some I had some leftover chicken tonight. Leftover chicken.
Mm.
Yeah, cooked that up, and yeah, it was pretty good. I had a light dinner. Light dinner tonight.
Okay, was it like did mom make it? Did you make it? Was it out?
No, it was from out. It was takeout from a couple nights ago.
Okay, was it okay a couple nights ago? I think they say if you leave it in the fridge for 5 days after that,
Yeah,
then it's no good.
it's like
So
a day or
I'm
2.
glad.
Yeah, just a
Yeah,
day.
I'm glad you got it out of the way and just make
Yes.
sure it was good to eat.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it like a mom and pop stop or was it a spot or was it like a
Longhorn Steakhouse. Longhorn
okay.
Steakhouse.
You
Yeah.
didn't get like ribs?
No, it was just chicken from from the appetizers and all. Yeah, because I had a later
Ah,
lunch today. So
okay. Okay. I see. Yeah. Yeah, I had pizza tonight. I'm just letting you know.
look at you.
Yeah. From
Yeah,
Marone's around the way.
a little local joint.
Yeah, local. It's been around for a while. It's kind of like a family, family thing. Like
Yeah,
Marone's a good spot, man. If you're ever in the area,
yeah.
Ardmore, PA, come to
Hey,
Marone's. Good
back here.
pizza, good wings
I'm a
too.
big pizza guy. I'm a big pizza guy.
Yeah, Domino's guy. Yeah, yeah, you're a Domino's guy, man.
I am.
Whenever I hit you up, you're like, oh yeah, I just ordered some Domino's with some chicken wangs,
It's well known,
something like
man.
that.
It is well
Yeah,
known.
yeah, it's all right. Don't run away from it. That's
I
all
love
I'm
it.
saying.
It's good stuff,
And
man.
I know you're working out and everything too.
I
So.
am. I am. So I can cheat. I can cheat here and there.
Yeah.
With
Yeah. All right, let's stick with the wild card. We actually have, believe it or not, it doesn't feel this way, but we actually have some of these wild card matchups
Oh,
set up,
really?
coming up this week. So I mean, we got the Houston Astros up. Voila, they're back in the playoffs, back winning the AL West. You know what I mean?
Shocker.
Yeah. And going up against the Detroit Tigers, who that kind of is a shocker that they were able to, after dealing Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers, where it's like, okay, I mean, okay, they're selling, they're still rebuilding to a certain extent, but here they are making runs somehow, some way behind Tarek Skubal and his Cy Young type of season. So we get those two. And then we get Orioles and the Royals. And the Royals are another team just making it. I thought after Pasquantino went down, I thought was kind of going to be it for him. We'll start with the Astros and Tigers, Nick. Who do you like? How many games? Obviously, best of 3. What are you thinking? Houston and Detroit.
Yeah. For me, listen. It's a nice story that Detroit was able to get in, right? Like, I get it. It's they sold at the deadline. They find a way into the postseason. Great story, right? Astros, man. I mean, it's every year. It's every year. They find they scare you a little bit during the season. It's like, whoa, they're not like great. Are the Astros on their downfall? No, they're not. They're not. I listen. I just think Astros are going to win this in 2. It's funny because AJ Hinch, former manager of the Astros, now in Detroit, facing off against his former team, which is pretty funny. He was part of the cheating scandal, Francisco. So that's another fascinating storyline that's going to head into this series to start the AL wild card. but I think you got to go with the Astros. The Astros, I think, are just too talented. Framber's probably going to get the start in game 1. In this one, I think they're just going to be too strong. They're experienced. They've been there, done that before. I have to go with the Astros here, man. I just can't see I can't see Detroit beating Houston. It would be a massive, massive upset if Detroit was able to beat Houston. Scooble's been great, but yeah, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, we're gonna agree here. I just don't think the Tigers just don't have enough offense.
No.
I wish they're Colt Keith has been better for them. Riley Green has been probably their best hitter this year. Like they've got some young talent there. Kerry Carpenter's been really good for them. Just not enough yet. They're not there. I would be extremely surprised if Detroit was able to even take a game off of Houston. I mean, Tarek Skubal is going to have to go 8 or 9 innings and have one of his best starts of the year. And not to say that he couldn't do that, but Houston also has good pitching between Valdez and Ronel Blanco. It's just too much there for Houston, and I don't know. The American League is very iffy this year. I don't know who I really like in the American League. I actually kind of want to say the Astros. This is a whole different conversation. But at the end of the day, I agree with you. I think Detroit has been a really fun team to root for in general. If you're a baseball fan, like the last month or so, it was really cool to watch them celebrate in the clubhouse and to see Tarek Skubal fountain a beer, talking to Jason Benetti. That was cool. But just not there yet. Not there yet, but
No.
Good for the city of Detroit, good for Major League Baseball as a whole. It's exciting. So I'm gonna go Houston in 2 games, and so are you. So we'll both go Houston 2 games. Let's look at the Royals and the Orioles. I think, obviously, you're a Baltimore fan, so you'll probably say Baltimore and in 2, and they'll score 8 runs a game, and the Royals will score negative runs somehow. So I think this is interesting. I think it'll be a little more interesting. I still don't trust. Bobby Witt's amazing. I just don't think there's still enough offense there.
Can I interrupt you real quick? Bobby Witt, if there was no guy named Aaron Judge, he would have been the runaway favorite for the MVP. I mean, just stating the obvious, but I mean, the guy had one of the greatest seasons as a shortstop ever. I mean, if you're building a franchise, that's the guy you want, right? If you're the Royals coming off a 100+ loss season, Bobby Witt is the guy. He is amazing. So I feel like it gets lost because he's in Kansas City, but now he's on the prime time stage of the postseason. Mm-hmm. You're gonna see Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, that guy's ridiculous.
There have been, but side note, there have been this has been a great season in general for a bunch of guys Judge, Witt, Henderson, Gunnar has been great this year. He has a 9+ WAR. Jarren Duran has been great in Boston. Juan Soto had the most homers he's ever hit as a Yankee. Jose Ramirez, I don't know if he get a 40-40 season. I don't think he did. No. He got 39 and 41. He was 1 away.
Whoa.
So I mean, but there have been pretty amazing seasons by American League players, National League players as well, obviously with Shohei Ohtani. We've gotten incredible seasons this year in general. I would agree with that. But all that to say, it's another look, I don't know how I feel about the Orioles. Grayson's out, right? Bradish done for the year, right? Tommy John?
Yeah.
Right?
So,
yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, Zach Eflin has been not a revelation because I don't think he's all of a sudden been a good pitcher. But he's been great for them. He's been much needed. I think that's all Baltimore might need. I think they just might need Corbin Burns to do Corbin Burns things. And Zach Eflin will probably go in the second game, I would assume, because he's just been that good. But I think that's all Baltimore's going to need is just a couple of solid outings from their starters. Good cleanup jobs by their relievers, and their offense is still too good for them to lose a series. So I like Baltimore probably in 2 games as well. I don't think this goes 3 games. I mean, but Kansas City's pitching really good.
Yeah.
I still think, I don't know. I just feel like in a 3-game series here, I can see Baltimore just kind of taking care of business here, even though I'm skeptical about Baltimore, maybe making a run here in the American League, but I can just see them kind of just getting by Kansas City kind of fairly easily, but that's how I'm feeling. What about you?
Okay. I mean, I'm picking Baltimore. I mean, we
know
that. I mean, we know that. We know I'm picking Baltimore.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna pick them in 2 games. I think the Royals get one here. I'm not gonna just disregard.
Okay.
The Royals are not the Tigers, Frank. The Royals are not.
Well, no, don't respect Detroit. It's the same division.
I'm just saying, the Royals are better than the Tigers. I mean, let's be real.
I would agree.
I think the Royals get one.
Both 186 games this year. Just saying.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm here to tell facts. I don't lie.
I just don't want to write off the Royals. They've had a really good season. Bobby Witt, they're pitching.
Yeah, because you're a big young guy. I know. Go ahead.
The young guy.
Yeah, you're Gunner, you're Bobby Witt, you're Ellie, and his 16 caught stealing leads the majors, 225 strikeouts. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, but I do think the Royals are a step up from the Tigers, but I think they'll take one from Baltimore because I think Baltimore's bullpen is going to fail them. That's I'm worried about Baltimore's bullpen. I think they'll fail them in at least one of these series. I think they'll beat Kansas City. I think they'll get through, but I think Kansas City takes a game. I really do. I can't see them not taking at least one out of this series. So I think it goes 3, but I think Baltimore ends up winning it. And they're going to go face the Yankees after that. That's going to be a heck of
I can't wait. I can't wait for that, man. That's going to be probably, I mean, Dodgers, Padres potentially.
Yes.
We don't want Phil's Diamondbacks, so we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, I have
Orioles, Yankees. Yeah,
I have to put up one of our comments. Viewer 6 ABCs. Nick Iadanese checking in. No one's beating the Phillies.
No one is beating. I mean, I think so. I mean, they're probably the National League favorite right now, but we'll get to the Phils. We'll get to the Phils next episode for sure because they got a week off. They got a week off. I mean, hey, just want to say, I predicted 95 wins, and what did they win? What did they leave with today?
What was I at? Did I say 94?
Did you say 94? I said 95. I know I did. You could have said 94. Good for you. All right, we were done with our wild card position. So I'm going Houston in 2, going Baltimore in 2. You're a young guy, so you'll give Bobby Witt a game. So you'll go Baltimore in 3, which I mean it's Gunner versus Bobby Witt for you. I mean I'm honestly surprised, man. I mean, who are you going with here? You're going Gunner, Westberg, Cowser. Even though Grayson's hurt, all these young guys versus who else? Bobby Witt. Is this who you look at? Bobby Witt, Melendez, Cole Reagans. Is that who you're looking at?
Yeah.
That's what you look at.
Wait, I might not even watch the Tigers and Astros. Don't need to. I mean, we got the real teams over here in Baltimore and
Oh, come on. It would be it's not gonna happen, but it would be cool to see Detroit take that series.
It would be funny. It would be funny.
Yeah, Houston's not ready to let that up yet. Okay, let's talk about something, that we talked about the entire season because it was going to be pretty much, their last year in the historical, as disgusting as it might be. The Veteran Stadium was disgusting too here in Philadelphia. But you know what? Here we called it our dump. That's what we called it, right? I can't really say that because I was only like 9 years old when
I never got to go.
Yeah, but so I mean, like we can kind of relate in a way. But I mean, I was still able to go there a couple of times before it was done. Oakland Coliseum saw its last game this past week as the Oakland Athletics will not be in Oakland anymore, pending for. I mean, there's potentially a way that they could go back, right? But I mean, it's probably not looking likely. Looks like they're on their way to Sacramento the next couple of years before they eventually go to Vegas. Nick, I don't know. I mean, I'll just tell you off the bat. I mean, it sucks. It's I really, we've talked about this multiple times this year, but I truly I try to put myself in the shoes that Oakland A's are feeling. They have a good fan base, by the way, right? Like they lost the Raiders. Did they technically lose the Warriors?
Yeah, they did because the Warriors left that area. Yeah.
Right. But I'm sure some of them are still Warriors fans there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's as big of a deal. I can't speak for that for Oakland fans, but I don't think that's as big of a deal. I think the Raiders are a huge deal there. I mean, the Raiders are a legendary franchise, and so are the Athletics. So are the Athletics. They've had, how many World Series was it? 5, 4, or 5?
So yeah, they won in Oakland, not all time, because they won in Philadelphia, the Moose, all that.
Right.
72, 73, 74, and 89. So 4 World Series titles.
So 4 World Series titles, countless legends in that city. I'm going to mention steroid guys. I don't care. Reggie Jackson, Raleigh Fingers, Catfish Hunter, Vida Blue, Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, Ricky Henderson. I mean, Dave Stewart, Dennis Eckersley. I mean, the Moneyball team,
Barry Zito, Tim Hudson,
Mark Mulder. Even Eric Chavez, who was one of the most underrated players of his generation, one of those more underrated third basemen of his generation. Early Matt Chapman. I mean, Brent Rooker's Donaldson, right? Early Donaldson. Brent Rooker's having a great season. I mean, you get the point.
Yoenis Cespedes had a great run with
Cespedes. Jason Isringhausen. We just want to rattle off names.
We're just going.
We're just going.
Talked to one of the guys that caused Moneyball, Johnny Damon, the other day.
I know that was sick. I was jealous, man. I was super jealous because Damon, he's a legend right there.
Yeah,
he's a legend. Johnny Damon, Shea Langoliers. Name some current players. But okay, so besides the fact, I kind of went off track here because we're just going. That's what we do. But as a Philadelphia fan, because I know they have a good fan base there too, I couldn't imagine losing the Phillies.
Yeah,
I just can't imagine that. And maybe as they haven't been able to draw a lot of crowds last couple of years, and look, whatever, their teams have sucked the last couple of years.
Well, that's that. Horrible. Yeah, that's on ownership. You saw the last game.
Agreed.
47,000 showed up. That product, the stadiums, it's unbearable. They have not spent money in years. This was on purpose. They've lost on purpose so they could leave Oakland because their owner is a what.
Right.
It's that simple.
No, you're 100% right. But I mean, I just feel for that fan base because I know they have a good. I know that they haven't drawn a lot of crowds there, and for reasons that you mentioned. But I just feel so bad for that fan base. It's such a legendary franchise. We've seen it this year with just all the stuff from Oakland fans, conveying their, love for the team and baseball fans in general too. I just feel so much for that fan base, and I really, it's horrible. It sucks. Yeah, it's just one of those things where we're always going to look back on and be like, screw John Fisher, screw just everyone involved there that had something to do with that. It really stinks, and I don't even know if that really does anything. Everyone's already said screw John Fisher. I don't think he really gives a crap. Whatever. It doesn't matter. All I'm gonna say is I'm gonna give as much to that fan base as possible and say that sucks, and I'm really sorry that this is happening for you guys. And I don't know if they're gonna stay Athletics fans. I don't know what they would do. I don't know what you do because it's I don't know. I guess what did Raiders fans do? I'm not really sure. I don't know. I haven't really gotten a gauge on that.
Chargers fans too. What do the Chargers fans do? What do they do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Rams fans when they left St. Louis.
It's just awkward. It's so awkward. It's you don't know what to really do because you get so emotionally attached to these franchises. I don't know, man. Nick, I think my overall theme is like I feel so bad for that fan base, and it's just really a shame. So yeah, it's really sad.
Listen, you know my thoughts on this. We've talked about it on the show many times about this Oakland A's situation. It's an absolute disgrace what has happened in Oakland. It should have never happened because of their owner who just just does not care. Does not care. Let the Coliseum go downhill. I mean, they had possums in the broadcast booth. I mean, that's how ridiculous it got in Oakland. I mean, things were leaking. It was disgusting. I mean, why would you want to go there if you were a fan? Why would you spend hard-earned money that you work for every week to go see a product on the field that's not worth anything and go to a stadium that's not worth anything? So, I mean, it was done on purpose. And the fact they're getting out of there and they're going to go for a couple of seasons and not even have a city attached to the Athletics. They're going to be called the Athletics, playing in a minor league stadium for a couple of years because they're so inept and couldn't get a deal done to get a stadium before that, ready to go once their lease was up at the Coliseum. I mean, that's just that just shows you right there who's running this team. I feel awful for the Oakland A's fan base. I could never imagine losing a team to another city. I mean, listen, Vegas is the spot to be right now. It's growing. It's huge. I get that aspect of it, but you could have put an expansive franchise there. And the fact that Rob Manfred allowed this to happen and allowed this to bubble over the course of the past couple of years, he deserves a lot of blame in this situation as well. Alongside John Fisher, like, yeah, you can blame John Fisher. He can do what he wants. He's the owner of the team. He can let the stadium go fall apart and not put a product on the field, not spend money on players, trade away all your best players. Like he's allowed to do that. He's the owner. All right, fine. But the fact the MLB didn't do anything about it and just kind of let it happen, that's on Rob Manfred too. So Rob Manfred doesn't get a free pass here. I know you sell the team, John Fisher. I know he's a horrible owner. Yeah, we got it. We get it. For a small market team, fine. But the fact Rob Manfred, I feel like he deserves a little more blame that's being put on for this athletic situation, because the fact they let this muster for years and years and years and could not figure it out shows the inept leadership at the Major League Baseball level, as well as John Fisher in the Oakland Athletics. Feel awful for the franchise, all the people that worked at the Coliseum who worked there for years and years. Security guards were digging up dirt in water bottles for fans to take home. You saw in the last game, 47,000 people showed out to that ballpark. It was not the fans. It was not the fans whatsoever. They're not going to blow their money on trash that's being put out there, literal trash on the concourses of the stadium and throughout the ballpark, and then honestly on the field too. I mean, they traded away everybody over the past couple of years and didn't spend any money. So not on the fans. I feel awful for them. It stinks. It should have never ever happened. But this is the world we live in today, unfortunately, with where Major League Baseball is at and how they operate. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, I feel awful. But they're going to be playing in Sacramento in a AAA stadium, and that should tell you everything right there.
Yeah, it's really a shame, man. Yeah, I don't even want to say anything about that stadium because it just stinks. It stinks. Well, yeah. I mean, I really don't have much more to add. I think you made a good point on Manfred there. I think you made a great point. I just feel really bad for that fan base because I just try to put myself we're me and you and then up here in the Northeast, we love our sports. They really love their sports out there in the West Coast too. And there's some legendary franchises. The A's are one of them. I mean, there's a lot there. A lot there, and it's stinks. Really stinks. Really stinks. So,
yep.
All right, let's talk about let's get some positive stuff. We're ending the show with two positive things. So I'm just saying, Nick, two of these guys, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, have done amazing things this year. Judge having another insane year. I thought he was going to get to 60 home runs at one point, but he didn't. He had a cold stretch there at the end of August or late September and finishes with 58 on the year. It's still an insane season. He had an OPS plus of 223, I think. It's like Barry Bonds, dude. It's Barry Bonds. And Shohei Ohtani is not far from it either. I mean, 54 home runs, 59 stolen bases, wasn't far from winning the Triple Crown, doing this. Just decided, he's like, I can't pitch this year, so I'm just going to steal 60 bases. So it's almost exactly what he did. So, Nick, my question here is, have we ever appreciated enough of what they have done this season? Because they have done incredible things. But I know it's a crazy question to ask. Have we, for what these guys have done this year, have we appreciated enough?
I think when this is something like, I think we've kind of touched on this a little bit before. I think it's something like where you're kind of like in the moment, you don't realize like how historic it is because you're in it, right? Like looking back, it's easier to like look at the numbers and look at all the old highlights, right, of crazy seasons before, and it becomes more iconic with time. So I think that's kind of why you're asking this question, right? Like we're so in the moment where we may not realize like how historic these seasons are, but like 10 years from now, we're like, holy crap. Like he went 50 for 50 that year. Like we may never see that again. Judge did this like again, like nearly hit 60 home runs again. Like I think because we're in the moment, that's maybe why it feels like people aren't appreciating it as much, because with time, that's when you start to appreciate more looking back on some of these historic seasons. And when you go like you and I going through Cooperstown, you appreciate what all those players did beforehand, right? And like all the iconic moments and the iconic season. Like you're like, wow, like that's crazy looking at some of those numbers and what they did that year and etc. So I think it's because we're in the moment, we may not appreciate it as much as maybe we should. I think that's kind of why we asked this question today, because like I think everyone, like, you're just kind of in shock seeing like, wow, we're actually witnessing history before us, and we'll really appreciate it down the line. But I mean, these guys have been ridiculous, Fran. I mean, I had a buddy of mine who's a Yankees fan. He sends me Judge stuff all the time because he just has to. He has to. And I try and downplay it, but I mean, he sent me the stat. Aaron Judge finished 2024 with the 7th best offensive season in the history of Major League Baseball, like overall. Yeah. 7th best of all time. With you put all the numbers together, it is 7th best between 3 Barry Bonds seasons, 2 Babe Ruth seasons, and 1957. And Judge is right there. 7th best offensive season of all time. Like, that's crazy. And then Ohtani, 50-50. That's never been done before. Like, you're dueling MVPs now. Like, could you imagine if Ohtani did this in the American League? Like, who would you choose as your MVP? Like, who would you choose?
I don't
like,
even want to think about that.
Like, could you imagine?
About it.
Like, that's like, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, well, they'll both win the MVP. Bobby Witt could have won the MVP because he was so great this year too. Like, imagine that. Because if Ohtani hadn't switched leagues, you'd have Judge, Witt, Ohtani. All in the American League could win the MVP. I mean, you might have to like say to the NL guy, hey, we may have to give one of these guys both AL because I mean that's how good they were. But yeah, I think it's because we're in the moment, you don't realize and appreciate it right this second, but down the line you will.
So here's how I see it, Nick. I'm gonna go each player here. Okay. The reason why I think they're both underappreciated this year is the way I view it is. Yeah, heck yeah. I'm seeing Ohtani homers every single day. I'm seeing Ohtani stolen bases every single day. I'm seeing Ohtani content every single day. And I'm seeing people talk about it every single day, for sure. But I don't think it's being talked about enough that Shohei Ohtani is never going to ever do this again. Like, he's never, not to say that even if he was only a hitter, that he would ever even do this again, but he's going to start pitching again, right, at some point. And he's going to get older. He's never going to do this ever again. Like, ever. We're never going to see it. So appreciate it in the moment that a guy just hit 54 home runs and stole 59 bases and is a freak of nature. And he could potentially, I don't know what the status is right now, potentially could go come out of the pen in the postseason. It's insane. Like, people are not talking about it, like emphasizing enough that this guy's never going to do this again. I don't know when we're ever going to see this again. I don't really know. It's not being beaten into the ground enough, dude. It's really not. I was just thinking about this today. I was like, Ohtani's never going to do this again. He's like, what? He's pushing 30. He's not, and he wants to pitch still. It's never going to happen again. This is one of the best seasons of all time. So that's number one for Shohei Ohtani, just because I think we're never going to see him do this again, or potentially anyone else. So that's my thing with Shohei Ohtani. With Aaron Judge, I don't think people are appreciating this as well. And I think it's more about his 2022 season where he went and got 62. He went and got 62, and he had an insane season overall. Almost won the Triple Crown. Almost won the Triple Crown this year too. I think if his 2022 season didn't happen, I think we'd be watching his season a little differently this year. We were tracking every Judge home run in September in 2022. We would have done that this year. And maybe it's a little different because Judge kind of had that little lull, but he got hot towards the end of September. I don't think we're talking about, you just brought up what your buddy said about Judge. Yeah, he's having one of the best offensive seasons of all time. He's having a Barry Bonds type of prime, I guess. Like he's having a 58 home runs. His OPS is, it feels like it's Barry Bonds type of OPS ever. Number. Yeah, his WAR is almost touching 11. Again, he had a 10+ WAR in 2022. We're not appreciating that enough either. And I don't know, maybe a little bit of it is because Yankees fans are like, oh, we'll just go win me a World Series. And baseball fans are like, oh, well, what is Aaron Judge really without a World Series? He's a Yankee. But we're not appreciating what he's actually, the type of production that he's putting up. Man, I'm telling you, both of these players, they're not being appreciated enough. We definitely appreciated Judge in 2022. I'll say that. But this guy is doing it all over again. I know he didn't hit 62 again, but he hit darn close to it, and his OPS is better this year than it was that year. So, I mean, wins above replacement overall, better this year than it was that year. So they're pretty darn close, Nick. And you know what? I damn sure appreciated Barry Bonds when I was 7 years old in 2001, watching him doing what he did for the Giants, having any clue as a 7-year-old. Oh, he's doing this clean. He doesn't do it without any steroids. And then I find out 5 years later, it was all the juice. But you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Nick, all that to say, I just don't think it's being appreciated enough right now what both of them are doing. You know, I just don't think so, man. And incredible years from both of them. And I don't know. This feels like 98 all over again. You know, Sosa and McGuire, those type of years. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I put those in both these in that category. Just right there. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I think we need more 7-year-old Franciscos running around appreciating seasons like this. I mean, that's what we need, right? I mean, that's what we need. We need 7-year-old Franciscos running around.
Did you like the impersonation?
Yeah, appreciating this greatness. That is bestowed upon us this year. It's been a great year, man, and to have two players like this, I mean, doing it in the same season, I mean, you couldn't ask for more. I mean, the guy's been incredible. Unfortunately, you know, as a Phillies fan, I went and saw Aaron Judge this year. I went to one of the games. When Phillies played him, and he had 2 home runs. I mean,
yeah, I remember that.
Like, as a baseball fan, it's like, holy crap, like, that was awesome. As a Phillies fan, it's like, I want to die. I actually went and walked around for 3 innings because they got blown out. But like seeing that, like how incredible and like how massive this guy is and how good at additions. Like every time he goes up to the plate, you're like, this guy's gonna hit a home run. Like that's how you feel. Yeah, I think as overall as a baseball society, it's not appreciated enough yet. Like, oh man, like we're diehards, but like maybe the casuals not appreciating it as much as they probably should.
Yeah, I think like me and you are appreciating enough, but maybe I didn't make that clear enough. Like,
no. This isn't even overall. This is like
this
overall as a topic of discussion. Are people really like grasping what's going on?
Exactly. I just don't think it is, man. Like I've been saying, I've been saying this to you all year. It's like, this feels like Bonds all over again with Judge. It feels like that's what it feels like. It feels like it's Bonds from the right side, just the kind of the production that and it's really a shame that he hasn't been able to stay like fully healthy the last 5 to 6 years, because Man, I think he would might almost be a Hall of Famer already if he was. And I know that's playing the he coulda, shoulda, woulda game and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's
Like,
just remember
like
what they're doing
as
this year.
like I have to mess with the Yankees fans. Like the guy who
Yeah.
sent me that stat today, which was like, oh, perfect, I'll use it for the show. I'm like, I have to mess with them because it was the 7th best of all time. I was like, well, it wasn't top 5. You
Well,
know?
right.
And
Yeah.
it throws them for a loop. So it's
Yeah.
pretty fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy what it's Judge and Ohtani been able to do.
Yeah.
It's
And by the way, I want to mention like Juan. I mean, I kind of already did mention it, but these even people aren't appreciating what Juan Soto's doing this year. Like I know
Bobby
it's like
Witt.
all time year. Yeah, well,
Bobby
of
Witt's
course,
had an
of
all-time
course.
year.
You know, hey, Jaron Duran, but you know me, I'm a big Jaron Duran guy. Like I appreciate him too. Okay, appreciate him. All right, appreciate Jeff Hoffman. All right, appreciate. Hey, honestly, we didn't talk about this. Appreciate what Emmanuel Clase has done. I mean, the guy is like a .1 ERA. Might have one of the best seasons by a reliever of all time. We haven't really talked about that. I might have to do a video on that. Might do a little video on that and just
shift video.
I might do a little shift video. I might just do like 7 minutes of like his cutters or something like that and just not even talk. Probably be better for the people anyway. So all right, but let's actually end the show on some more history. It's good to be back. You know, episode 67 of The Shift. And Luis Arraez, Nick. You know, as much as I give you grief and I give the people grief that batting average isn't as important, it's a fact, isn't as important as it used to be. Pretty cool for Luis Arraez to win 3 different batting titles with 3 different teams, albeit Luis Arraez didn't have that great of a season. Okay. Like he had like a 105 OPS plus. He had a war of like 1. Okay. Didn't have a bad year. Not he's good for what he is. Okay, I know I'm being an ass right now.
You are.
It's cool history to see him do it for 3 different teams. That's pretty cool. So he wins a batting title this year. Plays 116 games with the San Diego Padres after the Marlins for some reason traded him. That's another weird franchise. It's the A's and the Marlins, just weird franchises. I don't know. But Arraez 314 this year. Either that or 316. I think no, it was 316 with Minnesota. So 314 this year with most of his games played for the Padres in the National League. So, Nick, I'll say this and I'll let you go to end the show. I mean, it's impressive. I think it's really cool to be able to do that with 3 different teams. It's like, you know, it's winning. I mean, Clemens won a Cy Young with the Astros, won with the Blue Jays, won with the Red Sox. Like, it's a little different because that's an award, but like, you know, in that same type of threshold a little bit. So, yeah, for Luis Arraez to do this, that's pretty impressive to do that with 3 different teams. Like that's pretty cool. So, you know, batting average, you know, I don't love talking about it because it's not that important anymore, but you know, it's cool. So, Nick, I'll let you because you're going to go off. You're like, oh, yeah, it's so great. And Luis Arraez and Tony Gwynn. The thing, yeah. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Yeah, disregard anything Francisco just said about batting average. It's nonsensical. It's a disgrace. What a Luis Arraez. I mean, I love this guy. I just love him. I mean, 3 straight years. I mean, this is still we're talking about history. This guy in the batting average. Oh, it's fantastic. It gets me so excited, Francisco, to get up in the morning. The guy just loves hitting over 300. You don't see it all the time. And by the way, he stopped Shohei Ohtani from getting the Triple Crown because he is such a good batting average.
Yeah,
he stopped Shohei Ohtani from having the Triple Crown. That's how good Luis Arraez is. I mean, it's fantastic. The guy just hits the baseball. He just hits the baseball. 199 base hits this year. I love guys who can hit the baseball and, you know, drives up their batting average. 314. It's actually the lowest out of the 3 batting averages over the past 3 years, you know, with the Twins, with the Marlins, and with the San Diego Padres. You know, he had batted 354 last year with Miami, 316 the year before that. He's the first San Diego Padre since the man himself, who won a ton of batting titles, Tony Gwynn, first one since then for the Padres, first player to do it. 1997, it was Tony Gwynn's final batting title in 1997. So Luis Arraez, I mean, keep the stat alive, baby. I mean, what a great job, you know, for people like Francisco who don't appreciate, speaking of not appreciating batting average, Luis Arraez, man. We love to see it. I hope he wins a 4th one next year. Keep it going.
Yeah, we'll have to do, one of these days we'll have to debate which one's more important, the pitcher win or batting average, and we'll see.
That'll be a fun one.
Nah, I'd take batting average because the pitcher win is just. I mean, I just still don't. You can't. You have a comeback after I told you about the Estevez thing. You can't blow a save and then win the game. Like it. There's literally.
I'm not a big fan of the pitcher win. Like,
what you mentioned it many times, you fraud.
I'm not like this.
Don't go away now.
Whoa.
Don't make me go through our AI clips and make them cut up all your pitcher win. I'll put in keywords in there. You can do that. Pitcher win for Nick Earnshaw. Oh, yeah, I remember when I said this. I said the pitcher win for Taijuan Walker was the best pitcher in baseball. I'm sorry.
Are you done?
Yes.
All right. No. I think it's a flawed stat. A pitcher wins a flawed stat. Clearly flawed stat. Because of some circumstance that could surround it. Like you have a bad offense. I get it. But it's not totally irrelevant. It's not totally irrelevant. Like you make it.
All right, that's about gonna do it for episode 57 of the shift. Nick Earnshaw.
67. See, I got you all.
Shoot,
tongue twisted.
It's been a while.
Rent free.
Yes. Also, if you want to go back and listen to our last episode, actually I had Matt Musico on the shift. He was our first guest not let's say a while, but I hadn't been that long because Ricky Ricardo was on the show. If you want to go back and listen to that, potentially the future broadcaster for the Yankees radio. I'm just saying.
Better be.
Yeah, better be. But I'm just saying, if you want to hear some more about that, go listen to that. And yeah, Matt Musico was on the shift recently, talked about his new book that he has out on the most homers for each franchise by each player, whichever. Yeah, I don't know why I butchered that. I'm so sorry, Matt. You get what I'm saying. You watch the episode, you know what I'm talking about. I apologize. But, Tough Birds lost today. Good Phils win. I was right again, as I usually am. 95 wins I predicted. They won 95 games. Jeff Hoffman, the best reliever in baseball. Just kidding. It's Emmanuel Clase. That's all I really got. Nick, you got any words for the people?
We ended it, 57 episodes, minus 10, rent free. But listen, batting average, big stat, very important stat. Luis Arraez making history again.
It's good to be back. I'm probably gonna try to do a video soon. I'll be back, and postseason coming up here, so a lot of good stuff with Major League Baseball. So that is gonna do it for tonight's episode of The Shift, and we will see you guys soon.